Hi guys, it's Bear.
And Blackie.
Welcome to Old Wayz 56.
56.
I'm losing count, folks, but we're going to keep making them as long as you're going to keep watching. We actually have had one storm. We talked about in 55 about the necessity for being prepared for those storms that will eventually make it to you here along the Gulf Coast. And right now, southeast of Cuba, coming up along the Brazilian coast, is Beryl. Beryl is not a nice guy.
Already went to Cat 4.
Yeah, that's how warm the Gulf is, folks.
When the Gulf is that warm, it's just gas on a fire. The storms come in, they hit it, and there's all this moisture and everything, and it just explodes right in front of you.
Literally. We've talked in the past about Hurricane Michael. When Hurricane Michael was 25 to 50 miles off the coast of Panama City, it was Category 1. In the space of about 6 hours, from about midnight till 6 a.m., it didn't go to a 2 or a 3, it jumped all the way to a 5.
It caught that warm coastal current coming across there.
Yes.
With that wind, and it just spun it like a top. The thing that really saved us with it, it was super intense. It was a Cat 5, but it wasn't that big. It kind of pulled in and condensed.
It was a very, very tight storm. Very tight.
That was the problem with Katrina. Katrina was 1,000 miles across. And with what we're seeing down there, the big fear is we're going to get one come in the Gulf, get between the two jet streams. Whereas you've got the one that's going right to left, which normally runs like lower Cuba along the edge of the equator of Mexico. If it drifts up on our side and then our jet stream drops down and it's between these two, it's just going to spin it like a top, sitting over that warm water, and you'll end up with 1,000, 1,200 mile or whatever across storm.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about in one of his videos on his channel this past week about why Texas and the Trans-Mississippi is getting all the rain that should be coming here.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why.
It's steering it right there. And we have just this week got a little bit of rain.
Yes.
We've been dry for months down here.
Yeah, but matter of fact, you may hear some thunder in the background now. We were going to get out and do something out in the woods, and we got rained out.
Thunder and lightning rolling in, and where we're at, something can literally go from, well, I'll give you an example. I dumped my rain gauge at home, and 4 hours later I had 3.5 inches, you know.
Yeah, I had to go over to Dothan this morning. Was talking to some over there east of Dothan, actually, and was talking to some people over there, and in the last 48 hours they had 5 inches. 5.
That's typical for us. Now you guys out west, or you out in the desert country, I remember, what was it, last year that California got hit and they had huge flooding because they had 3 inches of rain.
Yes.
I mean, it was just wiping out places because they got 3 inches. Here, 3 inches is a pretty good shower to us.
For 3 inches is nothing here.
But we're set up for it. Our soils are set up for it. Our creeks, rivers, and streams are designed for it.
If you've never been out there, the dirt, the ground is hard packed, almost like adobe.
Yeah.
Because it's been baked, and all of they call them, I believe they call them dry waddies. They're dry stream beds. And you get a little bit of water flowing down that hard surface, and it gets out of control quickly. And you know, all of the bridges out there are not high. You know, they're probably 2 or 3 feet above the floodplain.
Yeah.
You can get 2 or 3 feet of water quickly.
I've been out in West Texas and places like that, and you'd hit a bridge, and we would call it a ditch. You know, it's 4 feet deep, 10 feet across. That's it.
Right.
You know, that's not even a creek in Alabama. But they consider that a major waterway. Of course, when you get a bunch of rain, it does turn into that. We're not laughing at it.
No, we're not, guys. Please understand, our West Coast viewers, we love y'all. Okay?
We want you safe.
We want you safe. That, West Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and into California, y'all, it's just, y'all can have flash floods so quickly and so easily. We can get 8 or 10 inches here and it won't even put the river up.
Yeah. Well, we had Friday, Houston County, which is next county over, 2 counties over that way. We had a big cloud come up and they announced there was a flash flood warning in Houston County. Now, when it says that we've got a flash flood warning, we're talking about rain so hard you cannot see across a city street.
Right.
If you're standing on your front porch looking at a normal city street at the apartment across the street, you can't see it. That's kind of the rain we're talking about. It is bucketing down. And that cloud came out of the Gulf about the Florida lines when it formed up well enough to start dumping. And over the next 120 miles, it dumped that kind of water, and then it was done. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we call those sea breeze fronts.
Yeah.
And predominantly, the weather flows from the Gulf north. Recently, we've been in one of those weird patterns where it comes off the Atlantic Ocean
and
comes
across.
across. And I noticed on my radar on my phone, my idiot box, that it was actually coming out of the northwest, which is usually a wintertime event.
But with those 2 jet streams, like I'm saying, doing like that, if it drifts up, we get everything coming east going west, which normally is super rare down here.
Yeah.
And then when it dropped down just a little bit, suddenly it reversed direction. It was coming the other way.
Yeah.
I can remember being a boy, and we had a really bad system clash. And they were talking on the radio, back on the old WIRB, and my grandmother having it on. We didn't have like
Was it
weather
AM
check.
870?
AM 870. And he was on there talking about, they were looking at radar, and we had 2 different fronts coming from 2 different directions about to hit, and at probably about 1 o'clock, this intense storm hit going west to east. And that storm lasted about 45 minutes, and it was like 60, 70 mile an hour wind, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain.
Yeah.
That storm passed, and 30 minutes later, we got the storm going in the opposite direction. Because I remember the living room had windows on each side, and when it was hitting this side, we had the windows open on that side, because we didn't have air conditioner or nothing. It was just you had a fan and a window. And so the wind was coming that way, and 30 minutes later, we had to close that window and put the fan on that side, because now the storm's hitting. We thought it backed up. It didn't back up. It was 2 different fronts coming from 2 different directions, and that shifted up, and it came the other way.
That's like the ice storm in '73.
Oh, yeah.
We were just kids in grade school, and it was, they let us go from school. We went in, they fed us breakfast, and then somebody pulled the plug and said, no, load the buses up, get these kids home. That's a good thing they did.
Yeah.
Our blizzard, our ice storm down here is not like your ice storm in Ohio. James, it's not, we're rookies, okay, when it comes to ice storms. But that having been said, when you get, there's a joke down here that we tell on ourselves where they get a snowflake over Montgomery and they shut down Elba and Enterprise and Dothan.
The whole state, because we want to play in it.
We don't have snow clearing equipment, excuse me. We just don't. Now we got sanding trucks. We don't do, we'll do salt.
We don't have snow plows, anything like
No,
that.
we don't.
And for us to get snow, you have to have extreme cold Arctic air that has to literally run over a big storm system coming off the Gulf hitting north. Because otherwise, by the time it gets down here, it's bone dry air.
Yeah.
I mean, it came in through Canada and all like that, went across the Great Plains. By the time it gets to here, it is bone dry. It's lost all its moisture.
Yeah. I was back to the storm of '73. My most vivid memory is laying in my bedroom listening to the trees burst. We're not talking about buildup of ice on a limb and brings the limb down. We're talking about water inside the tree
they froze and busted. It
It
sounded like a 12 gauge.
Yeah,
Bang.
when you would look at the tree, it would be bulged out where the water expanded and bushed the tree.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, and the power went out, and it was out for, I don't know, a day and a half, 2 days.
I had gone to school that morning over on College Street. Like you say, we ate breakfast. I think it was like second period. They came to the door and told, or whatever it was, second, third grade, whatever it was, but they came to the door and told the teacher we may be sending everybody home, get ready. So all of us kids got excited. Well, hell, I was walking home. My mom and stepdad had gone to north of Atlanta to a wedding, and it was just me and my grandmother. And so when they finally came down and said, everybody goes home, and one of the ladies had come, it was in the 20s then.
Yeah, yeah. When the temperature started dropping, it fell like a brick.
It had been like in the upper 60s, well, no, about 62, 63, and then it dropped down to like 28.
And it's raining.
Yeah, and that's when they came in and they said nobody walks home or something like that. Well, there was nobody to call. You know, my grandmother couldn't drive, didn't have a car. There was nobody else to call. And so I snuck out the side door, you know.
You always have been a rebel.
Well, you know, I lived about a mile and a half from the school.
If that far.
You know, and so I knew how to get there. And so I went to cut the tree, and I can remember the grass was freezing.
Yeah.
And you crunched.
Yes.
When you stepped on grass, it crunched. And I got home. Of course, I'm wet. And my grandmother had the one heater we had, and the den going wide open. We put a blanket up over the door that went in the kitchen. There was no door there to try to keep heat in that one room. It was the only room in the house we had heat in. And I had stripped off and put on dry clothes and laid down on the couch. Well, excuse me, Granny fed me. I laid down on the couch, and Granny had a blanket up over the window to keep the cold radiating from the window, and that little heater's going wide open. And I probably slept 4 or 5 hours, and probably about 4 o'clock. The snow started about 12:30 to 1,
Right.
and it snowed heavy up until about 4. Granny didn't wake me up for that. She knew better. Because I had, on TV and everything my whole life, I'd always wanted to see snow.
Yeah.
And so I wake up, and I've got on a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
And out the door you go.
And she's peeking out the window, and I'll never forget the glare
Yes.
and the frost on the window. And I stood up, and I looked past her, and I saw white. And out the front door I went, and she's hollering at me, no, 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 and I'm running around barefoot and bare-legged in snow. I spent 30 minutes walking around.
And you never noticed it.
I didn't feel it, I didn't care. It was
Yeah.
just winter wonderland. And it snows that deep on the side of the house.
Now, guys, up in the northern tier, that's nothing. That's nothing. But for us down here, that's considerable.
That was most anybody had ever seen that lived here their life.
I remember I was sitting, while he was taking a nap, I was sitting on the wood box next to our big fireplace that I told y'all about before, looking out the window. And I remember seeing a snowflake about that big, about like a silver dollar come floating down. And it was over. Totally and completely over.
She finally got me back in the house, and I warmed up and got 3 pair of socks on, 2 pair of pants, because we didn't have really cold winter clothes.
No, we still don't.
We still don't. And the phone was still working, and my Uncle Luther, who lived 5 houses up the street on the other side of the street, they had a fireplace. And they were asking her, because they were in their late 70s, and they asked my grandmother, was I home, and could she send me up there? And because they needed me to split up kindling for the fireplace. They done burnt what little they had, and it was so cold, and Uncle Luther was so feeble, they were scared to go out because everything was iced.
Yeah, and nobody knew how to handle it.
How to walk on ice or
Yeah.
nothing. And so I stepped out in the street and went flat on my back in a heartbeat. And I went all the way up the street. That was about like 2 football fields away on my knees like this, sliding in the road, because you couldn't stand up, your feet go out from under you.
Yeah.
Which I didn't care, it was exciting to me. And got up there and got around back and found the splitting thing they had, and I went to splitting firewood for them and got the firewood out of their little barn back there and hauled a bunch of armloads and everything. Got them set up. That was the first time that I can ever recall that anybody ever handed me something with alcohol in it, and it was coffee with alcohol in it. My aunt said, don't drink a lot of this, but just take like 2 swallows. It's kind of medicine. And I swallowed that and said, it'll make your chest feel warm. And it did. I didn't know what it was. Later I figured out, I think it was probably whiskey and coffee. But
It was sweetener.
it was a sweetener.
It was
But she
sweetener
said
coffee.
it'll make your lungs feel warm. And it did. I didn't know.
Little did they know then that we know better now.
Oh, now we know a heck of a lot better. But
Alcohol in cold weather will kill you
in a heartbeat.
in a heartbeat.
But it does help, you know, to open your lungs up
Yes,
when you're cold.
yes it does.
But they were old asthmatics and stuff anyway. So. Well, brother, anything else you want to bring up?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
A footnote. The last picture that I saw between Beryl, just south of Cuba and north of Brazil, back all the way across to the coast of Africa, there's about 6 possibilities of hurricanes.
Yeah.
Don't start building the ark when the rain hits.
Be prepared now.
Do it now. We can go to the grocery store, buy you an extra couple of cans of whatever. Get what you like.
On my video Friday, I went to the surplus place over here at
Yes.
Kaufman's, and they got those cases of those MREs,
Yes.
12 meals for $30. That's decent. And they'll ship them, and they're in time. I mean, it's not even supposed to be out of date until September, so these are going to be good for another 8 or 10 years.
Yes.
So if
And-
you don't have nothing, call the lady. Go look at my video, and I've got the information down there. Call them, they'll ship them to you.
Yes, they will. And remember, you're looking for calories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't eat something that's low in calories. Splurge. Okay. Get your hollow spot filled. Okay, that's what you want, because that's the fuel that your body's going to use to run itself.
Less number of meals per day, but higher
Yes.
value meals,
Yeah, like those MREs are probably 2,000 calories each.
which will keep you going. You can live off of one.
Yeah, you pop 2 of them a day, and you're looking at 4,000 calories a day.
You're not going to be happy, but you're going to be okay. You ain't going to lose a lot of weight.
No, you're not. But the thing is, in a crisis situation, in a difficult situation, you're going to burn calories faster. That's just the way we're wired. Put more calories in, because you're going to be burning more. And fill up that hollow bag, okay? It will help you out in the end. Save you some for the winter, because we're probably going to have some interesting weather this winter too.
Yeah. And other things that may interrupt you getting to the grocery store,
Yes.
or et cetera.
Which brings me back to my comment. Buy you a couple of extra cans of whatever. A couple of extra cans of soup, a couple of extra cans of vegetables, a couple of extra cans of meat.
Something you already
Something.
like.
Yes.
And I suggest this, I did that in a video way back when. Before you dump it into the pot to heat it up, try a spoonful of it cold, if it's not something wrong. See if you can tolerate it when it's cold or not.
Yes. Which brings up 2 comments, and I think we're gonna wrap this one up. When bread is on special at my grocery store, I'll buy 6 loaves and put 1 in the refrigerator and the other 5 in the freezer.
They thaw out just fine.
They thaw out just fine, but they'll last indefinitely. Okay, they're wrapped up in an airtight bag. They're not going to get freezer burn, and you'll have them when you need them. And as you use them up, just get you 2 or 3 more and fill it up. But the final story was, I was looking for something to feed the munchkins. And if y'all will remember, couple months ago, we did some quart jars of stew. Well, I thought, yeah, why not? So I got it out. Like you said, I tested it. Smelled great, tasted great, and I dumped that quart jar into a boiler and brought it up to a slow heat. While that was warming up, I made some rice, served the stew over the rice, and they just about ate it completely. I had 1 bowl. They each had 2 bowls. So, you know,
It works.
it works. What we're telling you is not smoke and mirrors. It works.
And we've had several of you talk about wanting us to do more canning stuff. We're got that on the possibility list, but you may have to wait until it's less than 100 degrees out here.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, and right now it's 94, 95 degrees, and the heat index is almost 110.
And we've just had that cloud go by, and so
Yeah.
the air is dead still and
Yes.
humid as all get out. So we're sweating just sitting here, doing nothing.
That's why I've got my canteen out. But anyway, I think that'll
Wrap it up for
that'll
this
wrap
one?
it up for today.
All right.
We're glad y'all could join us. We always look forward to spending this time with you. We look forward to reading what y'all go back and say in the comments, and do comment. Talk to each other in the comments. This is a family. Okay, we are a family, and we want to take care of our family. So hit that like button, hit that bell icon, and subscribe, not only to For Old Wayz, but to Blackie Thomas.
Thank you very much.
Okay, he's close to 100,000, and guys, we need to push him over. We need to get him out there and get him over that 100K mark. But yeah, with everything that he has done for the camping community, for the woodscraft community, the man deserves it. Okay.
You're going to embarrass me here.
I don't say that because he's my best friend. I'm saying that because the man deserves
I
it.
am just a redneck from South Alabama. That's
Right.
all I
But
am.
he's a redneck that throws a big loop. Okay. He influences people all over the world, literally. But again, thank you for joining us, and hit the like, share, the bell icon, and subscribe to both of our channels. We would definitely appreciate it. Okay, and we'll see you down the road.